Hi Broken Arrow, I'm Norm Stevens, Economic Development Manager for the City of Broken Arrow. Welcome to the latest segment of the Economic Development Impact video, our new series highlighting the latest information about economic development administration and activity updates in Broken Arrow. During these monthly updates, we will discuss why it is important for residents to shop local and how City and Chamber staff work to recruit and retain businesses. The updates will cover economic development activities that are happening all over the city. This month, my team shared information on our efforts to develop New Orleans Square. Next, I gave some updates on the Brio mixed-use project, formerly called Milestone, the Center for Creative Arts, SoundMind Behavioral Hospital, Russo's Italian Kitchen, and Warren Theater. Finally, you will hear about two more common social media misconceptions about economic development in the city. Now, here's what happened at the August 18th Broken Arrow Economic Development Authority meeting. Good evening, Chairman and Authority members. I'm Norm Stevens, the Economic Development Manager. Last month, I updated the authority on economic development projects in Broken Arrow, and as you may remember, I highlighted Tiger Hill Plaza, Creek 51 Business Park, and the shops at Aspen Creek. I also introduced a new series which featured two of the top 10 social media misconceptions of economic development administration. And each month over the next 4 months, I will do 2 additional to finish out that 10. In an effort to share the information with as many Broken Arrow citizens as possible, our communication department featured each misconception on the city Facebook page. As you can imagine, there were many comments to the presentation, both supportive and some somewhat critical, and we tried to go and address each one. One comment, if I read it correctly, suggested I go find a different job, but I thought that was unhelpful, so I didn't respond to that one. But a few of the responses helped me offer additional insight concerning economic development topics beyond the first 2 misconceptions. Tonight I'm going to present 2 more social media misconceptions, and I hope they encourage comment and questions from our citizens just as they did last month. And we will continue to monitor those comments so that we can respond to them when appropriately to provide additional information. And it's never done in a manner to be combative, it's done in a manner to inform. And that's the way we'll continue to do it. Now let's get started with this month's project. The first one we're going to talk about is the Brio. And the Brio is a 30,000 square foot commercial on the first floor, an apartment on the next 3 floors. The residents actually started moving in on August 1st, which was actually very, very exciting. As you can see from the video, and I'm sure you've each driven by it on numerous occasions, it's a beautiful project. It was a true public-private partnership, and the owner anticipates there will be 2 restaurants moving in by early fall, and they should be open by or before December 25th of 2020. I anticipate there will be a ribbon cutting in September. We could have actually gone ahead and done a ribbon cutting with the apartments open, but we thought that it would be prudent to wait until some of the ground floor started filling in, and that's happening quite quickly. The next one is the Center for Creative Arts. The former Arkansas Valley Bank building was demolished in July 2020. Construction on the Center for Creative Art will begin in late fall 2020 and early winter 2021. Manhattan Construction, who we're all familiar with, is the construction manager. The first phase is a $4 million, 14,000 square foot, 2-room maker space. And one of those maker spaces is dirty, which will be used for clay and pottery. And the other is clean, which will be used for drawing and painting. There will be a dedicated space for musical instruments, video arts, and a wood shop with sculpting tools to make large art pieces. The purpose for the center is to provide a venue for a variety of ways to do the art. And one of the reasons this is really exciting, and we all know this about our Rose District, we have fabulous restaurants, we have fabulous stores to shop in, but oftentimes there's not any real destination place to do anything. And that's one of the things we continue to work on. Well, this will be a focus so that you can go and do some things, and people will spend a lot of time, drop off their kids perhaps, and then go spend their time and resources in our Rose District. The next one is SoundMind Behavioral Hospital. Mr. Spurgeon and I are incredibly excited about this. This is the type of project that you want to see happening in your city. They actually started moving dirt on August 8th. The anticipated opening date is December of 2022. Just a reminder to the authority, it's a 72-bed adult and geriatric psychiatric hospital designed to serve the geriatrics age 55 and above, which always hurts me to say that. It specializes in the treatment of Alzheimer's and dementia-related diseases. I anticipate a formal groundbreaking will be scheduled in the near future. We want to get the operating company that will actually be running the day-to-day here before we do that. One thing that I want you to remember about this is it was written within the Economic Development Agreement that the ownership of SoundMind is obligated to do a phase 2. And that phase 2 is going to construction is going to consist of 10,000 square foot commercial building. And it will have retail and office space on a portion of the 14 acres. Construction of the phase 2 must contractually begin within 2 years of the substantial completion date of the hospital. Failure to commence construction on phase 2 within the required period will require the ownership of SoundMind to reimburse the authority $500,000. So this is really a great step. As you remember, we also sold a portion of that property next to it to Endicott Dentistry, which will be moving forward with building their facility. So there's a lot of great things happening. I'm going to touch on this whenever I talk about our misconceptions about the importance of a facility like this to really start to gain traction and momentum for a portion of our city. Another one that we're going to be talking and featuring is Russo's Coal-Fired Italian Kitchen. City manager's eaten in this restaurant numerous times in Tulsa. It's one of his favorites. They came to us and they were trying to locate a spot in South Broken Arrow. They specifically wanted to be there. We worked with the Owasso Land Trust to get them into that location. They're set to open December 1st of 2020. And right next to it is a second restaurant to be developed. The ownership of that restaurant is someone that we all know, and we all really enjoy that person's skills. But I'm not at liberty to announce that because it's his project and it's not mine. The next one is the Warren Theater. The Warren Theater, as you remember, had to close down on March 2020 due to the COVID-19 related illness. The Regal representative anticipates an August 21st reopening. They are very, very optimistic that once they reopen that things will go back to normal very quickly. One of the things that they were running into that was causing them some distress is I guess Hollywood hasn't been making a whole lot of movies. And I think the first two that will be up is a movie called Tenet and one movie called Unhinged. And they'll be opening those movies shortly thereafter. I sent one of the members of the TED team by the Cinemark Theater. There were people working inside of it. He tried to get their attention and they wouldn't come to the door. But we're hoping that they're also going to follow suit quickly and reopen. The next thing we're going to talk about is New Orleans and Square. And I'm going to invite Mr. Steve Yoder, who's part of our TED team, to come up. Several months ago, I challenged Mr. Yoder to take on representing the city and the TED team specifically with the New Orleans Square development. I wanted him to go out. I wanted him to get to know all the merchants. I wanted him to get to know the building owners. I wanted him to get to know the people who are the commercial real estate brokers. Mr. Yoder took that upon his shoulders and he has done a spectacular job. And now I'm going to give him the opportunity to talk about that.
Thank you, Norm. Chairman, members of the authority, thank you for the time. Appreciate the opportunity to be here in front of you. The drone footage is not as cool and sexy as others, but it's still drone footage of New Orleans Square. This just kind of is a base point for what you see. It's empty. It's huge. Lots of parking space. We'll touch back on that in just a little bit. But I wanted you to kind of see where we are currently. Slide 2 on this tells you what we've done. We've opened up a Facebook page. Actually, 2 Facebook pages. One is that one exactly what you see in front of you is the public page. We have a private page as well. But the public page, as you notice, just says New Orleans Square on it. We're waiting for the the logo and the marketing group to come back with a good logo. And so once that happens, we'll put that logo in there. So it looks a little bit bland right now, but it's going to get sexy pretty quick. This is a post that we made, about 25, by the way, there's about 1,300 plus likes on our page and counting. So by the time we end here, it's probably going to be 1,400. So the public page, as you see there, there's a post. We haven't made many posts for obvious reasons. I think we may have 15 as of right now. But this particular one, over 2,500 people saw the post. We'll be boosting those in the future for special events, for new openings, for Christmas, whatever we feel like we need to boost those for. So good things happening there. Next slide shows that's the private group. This is why do a private group? Well, it's specifically designed for the merchants that are only there within the community, within New Orleans Square. And it's so they can share ideas, so they can basically build some trust with one another, build some rapport, and then we kind of want to create this neighborhood feeling amongst the New Orleans Square folks. So next slide, please. So we're going to go quickly through this in the interest of time. We've been doing Did You Know videos, and these are, I think we've done about 12 or 13 in the New Orleans Square area. This is just one of them. I'll let you
Hi, my name
enjoy
is Erin,
this.
and I'm with the Economic Development Team at the City of Broken Arrow, and here's another edition of Did You Know? Today we're exploring one of our nonprofits here in South Broken Arrow, and it is a New Leaf. So follow me, let's see what they have to offer. I'm here with Amanda from a New Leaf. So can you tell us a little about a New Leaf and what you all do?
Sure. So since 1979, it's been the mission of a New Leaf to serve adults with developmental disabilities and autism, providing them vocational training through horticulture therapy, vocational services and placement, residential services and behavior support as well. So we started small with just one client and one staff. We really expanded our services now, so we've got vocational placement.
Let's go ahead and go to the next
more than a
slide.
dozen.
That is about a
sites.
4-minute, I don't want to indulge you with 4
Erin,
minutes.
and I'm with
This is where we're headed. This is what we're headed towards. This is the next level of this. As you noticed, the first video, the first Did You Know, was informational, and we need those. Those are informational because they're designed to inform Broken Arrow, well, all viewers of what we have here in Broken Arrow. So here's kind of the route we're starting to go down towards. So.
Hi, my name is Erin, and I'm with the City of Broken Arrow Economic Development Team. Come along with us as we take a tour of New Orleans Square's fast food option.
My favorite thing to do in the whole world, eat.
Potato cakes at Arby's.
You get the point. We're kind of trying to jazz things up a little bit, make them a little more fun, a little more appealing to a different market, right? Because some people, as much as I would like to think they like looking at a 60-year-old overweight hairless guy, that not so much, right? They like the latter. So I think it's going to be a great. Erin is an amazing talent, and so you can tell she's been here like a month, and she's already doing wonderful things. So very, very cool. So what is the business climate? Go on to the next slide. Yeah. What's the business climate in that area? I know this is going to be strange to somebody. Optimistic? I didn't put a question mark by it. It's actually what we found. I have visited with, as you have, I'm sure, Counselor, multiple businesses over there. Roughly, there's probably about 75 or 80 businesses there. I'll bet I've talked to 60 of them. You've probably talked to every one of them. Yes, there are a few that are not optimistic. but the overwhelming majority say, yeah, we're excited to be here. And you look at the definition, it's hopeful and confident about the future. I wouldn't have said that prior to COVID. And here's my reasoning. They took a punch from the heavyweight champion of the world, and they're still standing. And so they feel confident that they can weather any storm. They say, you know what? We got shut down. We had zero revenue for 2 months, but yet we're still here. And we see the good things that are happening in that area, and we're very confident. So I'm excited about that, and I think maybe you'll agree with me, maybe you won't. But my research has shown that there's some optimism there. Let's go ahead and go to the next. Yeah. So I'm a little bit of a data geek. We did some data. Total available slots, there is about 121. We've got about 86 occupied. So that leaves about a 71% occupancy rate. That's not awesome. I get that, but it's better than I thought it would be. If you'd asked me a year and 4 months ago when I started what that was, I would have said, oh, it's 40-50%. But doing the research, it's kind of amazing what happens there. Go ahead, next slide. This is me being geeky. Just I wanted to break it out. Those are my categories, not SIC codes or anything like that. Nothing official. But the amazing thing to me was look at the number of eating options you have there. I thought there were 3, but there are actually 15 options to have food, and 16 if you call come and go food. So
Some do.
yeah, some do at lunch. All right, next slide, please. So what are we doing next? The next steps are really we want to create a merchant association, and this is to again gain that brotherhood amongst all the merchants and get them talking. We'll be having meetings. I've got a letter that's been sent to Mr. Elkins, and he needs to approve it and take a look at it. It'll be sent out to all the merchants and basically asking them if they want to be a part of this association. If they do, and then, to your point, we want them to show up,
Yeah.
We want them to show up and be there and be active. We'll have, again, either quarterly meetings, probably monthly meetings to begin with, and then move those to transition into quarterly meetings. Our goal, as you can see, is basically to help guide those merchants. It's not going to be our meeting, it's going to be their meeting. We will just be there to help facilitate. All right, next. So the update on 3 kind of exciting areas. You heard about some wonderful stuff going on with the tactical urbanism. I'm all for that. I think that's awesome. The home church, updates on that. They have, most of you already know this, but they have 11,000 square foot planned for retail on the east side of their building, facing east. So there's going to be, they've already had 2 occupants that are we allowed to say those names?
If they're ready to announce, I don't announce.
Okay, yeah. Let's just say there's a pizza place up in the northeast part of the country that will be there. And then I can't even give you a clue on what this other one is. But there's 2 that have already signed. And so there's 3,000 square feet available, still available there, along with the out parcel that'll be over by Mr. Mambo's. I was going to say Mr. Magoo's, excuse me. I almost got that mixed up. El Chico, that's been empty for so long. It's been kind of an eyesore, but there is a group that's actively pursuing that, and I'm very, very excited about that. It would fit perfectly with the New Orleans theme. It's a restaurant that's, these people are amazing, and they have great accolades and experience, and so I really hope that we'll be getting them, and they'll be coming to us in about 30 days. They're doing all their due diligence, and so we're looking forward to working with them on that. The Reesers, as you know, has been a fun building, but I guess that's the only way to put it. There's activity there, though. The positive thing is we've had a couple of contracts on that, and yes, they've gone south, but at least there's activity. I think there's an LOI on it right now, and so there's hope. Put it that way. there's hope for that. So in summary, to kind of wrap all that up, I think that there's good optimism for this particular part of the city, as well as, you know, with Larry and his creativity, his team. I think it'll be a wonderful thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Man, nice job, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate
Steve.
it. And Authority Member Gillespie and Authority Member Udi both sit on that committee and have put in a tremendous amount of work and are very, very excited towards everything that's happening at the New Orleans Square. With that being said, we're going to move into the next two of our top 10 social media economic development administration misconceptions. Number 3 is the city has invested significantly more financial resources in North Broken Arrow than they have in South Broken Arrow. And I can't begin to sit here and tell you that there hasn't been more resources put in North Broken Arrow than South Broken Arrow, just to the fact that it is built out more. But that does not mean that South Broken Arrow has not had a tremendous amount of resources put in it. I want to give a little just quick background, because people who have not been in Broken Arrow for a long period of time think that North Broken Arrow and all the development they see just always was. And that's not the case at all. That's not the case in the least. Until 1995, there was little to no development north of the Broken Arrow Expressway. In 2005, Bass Pro opened in the Stonewood Hills development. The result of this regional draw was moving the retail focus from New Orleans and Elm to the north portion of the city. The south loop of the Creek Turnpike opened on August 15, 2001, and Walmart Supercenter opened on South Elm in 2002, which added to the retail migration to southern Broken Arrow away from the New Orleans Square area. The city has invested, or will soon invest, and this is very, very important that everyone listen to this. The city has invested, or will soon invest, over $61,745,000 in South Broken Arrow. $44,085,000 towards transportation, $8,500,000 in public safety, $9,160,000 in utilities. Now you're saying, you know, or some of the people may say, well, how does that add up to economic development? If it's not safe, if there's not public safety, if there's not fire stations there close, businesses aren't going to put in multi-million-dollar locations. If the roads are not wide enough, if the infrastructure is not there, if the water lines are not there, if the sewer is not there, they're not going to open up a SoundMind Behavioral Center. They're not going to open up large apartment complexes to add to the density. So all that is going in is creating the environment. And that's going to just really segue into our next part, is creating the environment for economic development in South Broken Arrow. The next one that we're going to talk about is that economic development is about recruiting retail. In reality, economic development focuses on improving the local standard of living. And it does this through creating an environment. Mr. Spurgeon, if I've heard him say this once, I've heard him say it a dozen times. The city, a municipality, does not create the economic development. What it does is it creates the environment for it to flourish. And that is what is happening in South Broken Arrow. We're there to help grow jobs, retain jobs, business investment, higher wages and more skilled employment, the adequate infrastructure that we've talked about, and an attractive quality of life, which is so very, very important. In the simplest terms, a municipality's economic development objectives are to increase its tax base, create jobs, and stimulate the local economy by encouraging new business activities or expansion of existing business activities. The concept is you build it, they will come, as it pertains to retail, is a flawed concept. Retail follows jobs. Jobs do not follow retail. Mr. Ted Cundiff, whenever he was introducing Jennifer Conway about the Innovation District, said the very same thing when he was talking about the Innovation District coming into South Broken Arrow. That Innovation District is going to help create those jobs, which is going to be a driver for retail and restaurant to come around it. One of the primary reasons the city of Broken Arrow continues to be successful is the fact that we have a strong manufacturing footprint, those good quality jobs. Broken Arrow is the third largest in manufacturing as far as any city in Oklahoma. Most people probably do not understand that or had never heard that. There are approximately 300 manufacturing companies in Broken Arrow alone. They employ approximately 6,200 employees, paying nearly $400 million in salaries with an average wage of $62,000 per year, and that's without benefits. The manufacturing hubs that we have in Broken Arrow are the things that are going to help push that retail around them. And that's what you're going to see. I told you earlier whenever I was visiting about SoundMind that it's a great example of that. When we pushed out the information on social media misconceptions, we were nailed real hard on different, well, where's the lack of retail, the lack of restaurants in South Broken Arrow. Around that same time, we pushed out a deal of the groundbreaking of the SoundMind Behavioral Hospital, which is going to create over 100 good paying jobs in South Broken Arrow. And it got very little traction. That's a shame. That's showing that we're still not explaining what we're wanting to get out is that jobs drive retail. Retail does not drive jobs. I look forward to visiting with you again next month, and we'll do some more featuring of some of the projects that are going on, and I'll produce a couple of more misconceptions. I'll ask Mr. Yoder to step down back with me if you have any questions of me or Mr. Yoder. Mr. Spurgeon, if you have any additional comments, sir.
Any questions? Council have any questions?
I know, it's exciting. I don't have any questions, but I love just the symbiotic relationship that everyone has in the different departments that working together and whatever your expertise is and toward a common goal. I mean, it's going to be exciting to see what happens, but also I appreciate what the New Orleans Square, the Facebook page, is doing to highlight businesses that are already there, because we don't want to forget about them in this whole process. We want new business, but at the same time, we want to honor those business owners who have been loyal and really have stuck it out. I mean, because that's where they want to be.
You know, Mr. Yoder's title is that of business retention and expansion. So we understand and appreciate the retaining of our existing businesses.
Well, and to see 36 services in that quadrant that probably people don't even realize that we have that many services in that one little square is kind of cool. Yeah. Next time you'll have to go to Caribbean sushi. I mean, we've got,
Well,
there's other,
yeah. Hey, there's food. Right? I told you, it's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
So,
get your eyebrows threaded.
While you're eating,
That would actually be really great, Steve. You should do that. That would actually be really awesome in the video.
The only thing I really wanted to add about the infrastructure is, it's the foundation in which the city stands, is that there are some communities, Owasso, for example, is that their assessed value in their communities is higher than Broken Arrow's, and they have some really neat businesses. The first thing you'll hear when you talk to a lot of people about Owasso is their roads are all 2-lane. And they have an extremely difficult time getting around their community because they have no general bond obligations. They haven't passed a general bond obligation since the early 70s, and they were thinking about one this August. Because of the pandemic hit, they didn't take it to their voters. And so the point being is that the fact that we've invested with the widening of the roads and extending the sewer, we have the Creek Turnpike, those things really do one thing. They eliminate reasons people don't want to come here. And so right now, it's about the rooftops, it's about the traffic counts, which are coming up. Larry talked at the HBA the other day that there's approximately 500 new homes have been built, with probably half of those in the southwest part of the city. And so there is a lot of activity that's going on. And as a city, it's the council's responsibility and the city manager's responsibility, like the school board and the school district, is to think really in 10, 20, 30, 50-year terms. And so you figure when you talk about creating jobs, you talk about creating opportunities for quality of life, you can't just look at today. You have to look at setting the stage for long-term success, because you need those jobs to generate the revenues necessary to maintain a high quality of life. And I know it's a challenge when you want a Chick-fil-A, 6 blocks from your house, okay? Because I like Chick-fil-A, all right, and so does everybody else, and I want one near my house. It's difficult when you tell people, hey, they're not going to put a franchise down there. People don't want to hear that. Right. And it's extremely challenging, but we're still out there. The purpose of these is to generate the comments, the feedback, the awareness. And the only way to do that is by putting videos out, having updates to the governing body engaging when there are social media posts, videos. We're doing all the right things to basically demonstrate that we are trying to make sure all parts of the community grow. Because there's development happening all over town, some more than others, but there's also lots of opportunities which, when we go into closed session, you're going to hear some great things which we can't share with the public, but hopefully we'll be able to do so in the next few months.
Yeah, and I think going along with that, people, of course, we always hear in South BA that, they're the stepchildren and we hate them and we don't focus on them when we really have put so much effort towards South Broken Arrow. But I don't think they understand that it takes daytime traffic. And we don't have white collar and blue collar jobs there for the most part. People leave South Broken Arrow and go to other cities or other parts of the city to work during the day, and it takes. So having SoundMind open up, that's why it makes sense to have daytime employees that need a place to go eat and shop and do stuff on their lunch break. So it's just a process, and Rome wasn't built in a day, so we will get there.
On social media last night, people were noticing the strips that are across the roads all over the place south. Did you see any of that? It was really funny, because everyone was like, okay, what is this going? And we're like, okay, we're going to go. We're just going to drive in circles all night long. I mean, everybody was getting on there and talking about we're going to just go back and forth. It was like, hundreds of people were getting on there saying, just being funny, which is kind of nice every once in a while to have them being funny. But
it is nice.
They're committed. They'll drive around in circles over those.
You're welcome.
There's a story of an old of a singer who became an overnight success, and when they asked him, what does it feel like to be an overnight success, he said it only took 20 years to be an overnight success. And Bass Pro Shop, everyone looks at there and says, well, clearly it's a success. Yes, it is. And it only took 15 to 20 years to become a success. You're right. In 2005, it was raw land. When I moved here in 1998 and began practicing, downtown was a wasteland consisting of one cafe and a bunch of antique shops. North Broken Arrow had nothing. You got off the BA and had to come south because there's no reason to go north. And everything was in South BA. And as you said, in 2005, it's 15 years ago, that's when Bass Pro opened. It took a decade to make that happen. And then it took another decade for it to build out. So people forget that sometimes it takes 20 to 30 years to be an overnight success. But when you have that success, you look back and say, oh, well, it wasn't. And I think I have to remind myself of that, because I, living down south, become very impatient. And it's natural, because if I want to go, to a grocery store, I have to go north, because I'm not going to go to Bixby. And so I think that, but it's frustrating. But I keep reminding myself, it only took 15, 20 years for Bass Pro Shop to be a success. So if I'm patient, I'll see that come back again.
Well, Norm, I don't know if you've seen the latest social media misconception about Broken Arrow, is that all of the city councilors actually live in North Broken Arrow. We just say we're in our wards, because with everything happening in North Broken Arrow, it raises the property value, and so we actually all live in. That was this week, so I hadn't seen that before.
Well, our addresses are a matter of public record, and it's easy to find where we all live.
Yes.
I'm not sure I like that, but that's how it is.
Misconception number 11.
Yes. Well, thank you, Norm.
Thank you, guys.
And thank you, Steve. It was a great job.
Yeah.
That's it for this edition of the Broken Arrow Economic Development Updates. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any suggestions or you would like something specifically mentioned in future monthly reports, please call or send me an email. Until next time, I hope you will continue shopping local and be amazed at what our city has to offer.